If I told you that you could go from speaking your native language to speaking a completely foreign language in 3 months, 6 months, a year, that would be pretty incredible. In this lesson, we're going to talk about what actually is possible and why it doesn't really matter that much. In the previous video, I talked a bit about Steve Kaufman, the input guy, and Benny Lewis, the output guy. And I also talked a little bit about how Benny Lewis likes to create these 3-month language learning missions where he tries to reach fluency in just that short amount of time. Now, this is a very controversial thing online, and many people say it's simply not possible. But is it possible? And if so, how? In order to answer these questions, we need to look at two things. The first is a definition of fluency. The second is the parts of a language. Many people define fluency as basically the ability to do just about anything you could do in your native language. You can work, you can go to school, you don't have any problems communicating, you can understand what you read, what you listen to. You are fluent. You are fully functional in that language. That's a very good definition. But what if I told you that most universities only require an upper intermediate level in order to attend? That seems quite odd. In fact, the upper intermediate level is more or less in line with what we would call conversational fluency. So what is conversational fluency? You can understand most of what people say to you, and you are able to respond without a lot of difficulty. Does it mean you are perfect? No. Does it mean that you understand everything or that you know every word that you find? No. But it refers to an ability to effectively and comfortably communicate with other people, including native speakers. Now, he specifically says his goal straight from day one is to communicate with other people. And so for various reasons, that's what he decided to start trying to do when other methods failed him. Despite what many people believe, you do not have to learn a bunch of vocabulary and grammar before you start trying to speak. Now you can, or you can immediately start trying to practice what you are learning. Now he does admit trying to become fluent, even just conversationally fluent in a language in only 3 months is very ambitious. It is a very short-term period and it's very difficult. In fact, he hasn't always succeeded. However, that's not the point. It's not about actually reaching fluency or conversational fluency. The reason why he creates these really short, difficult missions is to push himself and force himself to focus on what's the most important thing I need to do today, what's the most important thing I need to do this week in order to get closer to my ability to communicate with other people. This is the 80-20 rule. Identify the key parts or sub-skills of a skill that give you the most benefit and focus on that first. Of course, that involves a lot of speaking practice, but it can also involve other things. Like when he was learning Mandarin Chinese, he had to actually take some time to really focus on the tones of Chinese because they were a big obstacle in him communicating. And if he doesn't succeed, that's fine. He still learns a lot. In fact, a lot more than most people would in, say, 6 months or even a year, because he really pushes himself in those 3 months to try to get as far as he possibly can. This also helps you to overcome the fear of speaking really quickly. That is the value in the Fluent in 3 months approach. And guess what? You can do that too. Anybody can do that. You can do that for any part of English. This is also something that Lydia Machova talks about a lot, and I apologize if I'm saying her name wrong, I probably am. And you can even do that for any skill. If you want to become an artist or learn a musical instrument, you can spend 3 intensive months focusing on the most important things to reach your goal with that skill, and you will make a lot of improvement. Maybe you don't reach your goal, that's fine, but you try as hard as you can, and you're almost guaranteed to make a lot of progress. But notice, there are certain techniques. If you don't use these techniques, you're not going to learn quickly. So you have to have an idea of what to do and what actually works. For language learning, the single fastest way to improve is to speak as much as possible. Make a ton of mistakes, learn from them, and just keep going. In fact, Benny has said that he tries to make 100 mistakes a day in order to get them out of the way, learn from them, and improve faster. Now, coming back to this idea that conversational fluency doesn't really mean fluency, that also doesn't matter. Why? Because if I told you that you could go from speaking your native language to speaking a completely foreign language in 3 months, 6 months, a year, that would be pretty incredible. You, as an English learner, you have probably been learning English for many, many years, and yet you are still here watching my videos. You're looking on YouTube for other English learning videos. Why? Well, there could be a lot of reasons, but I bet you that one reason is because of the horrible way that languages have been taught in schools. This has improved, but I still think that it needs a lot of improvement. So if you've been learning English or whatever language for 5 years, 10 years or more, and I tell you, hey, 3 months from now, you could finally be having real conversations with real people and feel comfortable and confident. Maybe not perfect, but comfortable and confident. That would probably make you really, really happy after all this time of trying to learn English. Now, one more thing I want to address here is, why do people believe so strongly that fluent in 3 months is not possible? Schools are really, really good for teaching you knowledge. Unfortunately, whether it's learning a language, learning a musical instrument, learning how to program, whatever it is, most skills that are taught in schools are not taught very well. There's usually too much focus on the theory and the knowledge, which some of that is super important and useful. I have a trick for that I'm going to be talking about later. But you need, say, 80% practice, 20% theory. Schools tend to do the opposite. You get 80% theory, if not more, and 20% or less practice. That is not how you build a skill. And so you get cases where maybe you can pass a C1 level grammar test, maybe you know 3,000, 4,000 words, but you can't have a basic conversation, because what you practice is what improves. If you don't practice speaking, it won't improve. That's the main thing I want you to take away or learn from this video. If you would like to learn more, again, you can check out Benny's channel. You can check out people like Tim Ferriss, Scott Young, Josh Kaufman. There's a lot of people who have looked into learning things quickly, and they actually work. The trick is to approach things with a growth mindset, meaning that you believe that you can learn if you keep trying and you try to learn from your mistakes, and to find the techniques and activities that work best for learning quickly, as well as that work best for you personally. We'll be talking much more about those later in this course. If you're looking forward to that, make sure to subscribe. So, do you have to learn quickly? No, but it is absolutely possible. My question for you, do you think it's possible to become fluent in 3 months? If so, why? If not, why? What's your experience? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching another English Hacks lesson, and I will see you guys in the next one. A very special thanks to our Patreon supporters.